What's going on, Top Tier Trader fam? Brittany Hughes here, and welcome back to another Top Tier Trader interview. I have Jonathon Ford here with me virtually. He's tuning in from, you said, Kentucky?
Yes, I'm in
Okay,
Kentucky right now.
okay, cool. Well, welcome to Top Tier Interviews. How are you today?
Doing pretty good. I'm very just grateful to be here.
Yeah, thank you so much for opting in and for agreeing to do these interviews. I think it's just really great that we have the opportunity to not only connect more intimately with our top tier traders, but also to showcase them and to grant you your flowers. Because as we were talking just before we started interviewing, that it's no easy feat,
Right.
making it to. I mean, passing a challenge is no easy feat, and then making it to a payout consistently is no easy feat. Growing your
Right.
personal account, trading in
Yep.
general is not easy. So at any time we can give our traders their flowers, I'm always excited to do that. So let's just dive right into it. What do you think?
Let's do it. I'm ready.
Okay, great. First things first. I mean, at the end of the day, I feel like most people are always interested in payouts and how much money that you've received from top tier traders. So, can you
Right.
share with us what your biggest payout has been up until this point?
Yes. My biggest payout to this point is 39,000. I made that in January, and then the next month in February, I had a payout of 30,000. So I had 2 good months, that I performed well in. I usually have like a goal of the 10% like a month, to make, but I seen trades presented themselves, and I took the trades, and I just continued to trade. Um, on the first payout, I made that on the 100K account.
Okay.
So, I started to trade that. But as far as like the payout process, it was really smooth. It didn't take long to, like receive the funds. And like as far as the support team was, responsive if I had like questions to ask. So, but the payout process was like good.
Amazing. Well, congratulations on two, I mean, big payouts back to back. That's incredible. How has receiving, I mean, nearly a little over 60K in payouts
Mhm.
this year alone. What did you spend it on? What did you use it for? How's that impacted you?
I would say like a huge impact. It just allowed me to just, use it for certain things in life, like, like living. So just like expenses, just in life in general. I would say a new car as well, but
Mm.
it just like allowed me to just, receive the funds and use that toward more trading. Aside from the prop firm, I would also like to trade my own account as well. So just trading that as well.
That's awesome. Well, again, congratulations. I mean, being able to receive a payout and use it for bills, for living expenses, that
Yeah,
really is what it's about. Of course, it's also about, buying what it is you've always desired, buying
yeah,
that new car, whatever the case may be, but something as what we may think of as small when it comes to living expenses, bills, whatever, like that's
right.
where the ultimate and like really true impact is. So
Yes,
that's awesome.
yes, I agree. Like, it's very important to pay yourself. Like you put in time on the charts, you put in hours on the charts. Like, you also need to pay yourself. What you don't want to do is keep all of your money inside the account.
Mhm.
Like, just continue to, keep paying yourself.
Totally. I want to jump into what got you into trading in the first place. Obviously, at this point, it's March of 2025. You've
Yes.
already banked over 60K in payouts. I know you didn't start trading in December of 2024,
No,
right? I
not
know
at
it's
all.
taken some
Yeah.
time. So
Yes.
walk us through that journey.
So I would say my trading journey started around 2019-ish. I was in school around that time playing football.
Okay.
But I also was in a film and photography. So like whenever I had time, I would shoot, or on like weekends. My school, it wasn't too far from home. So, I would swing home and record and shoot.
Okay.
But I would say my whole philosophy around that time was like to just grow, to just grow my capital. So I started to go online and try and find ways to invest. And I seen trading, and I thought to myself, this may be like the perfect craft for me, because I've always like loved tech and like computers. I still remember whenever I was younger, my dad, he got me this computer, and I used to like just stay on it like all the time. So like, computers and that stuff just like influenced me a lot. So from there, I started to, see what trading was like about. And I started to,
Did you discover it via like YouTube, or like somewhat like on Instagram, or like what was that origin story?
I want to say it was on YouTube.
Okay.
I seen like a few traders here and there, and I just got influenced. So from there, I just started to learn about it just here and there, and then I started to read books about it as well. So like I would say in the very beginning, it was important for me to like just kind of read books to just see the flow of things and see how a trader thinks. Like it's very important, I feel like, in the beginning stages, to really you know stay on the mindset, because you really can have a good strategy, but you also need the mindset to trade that strategy the way that it's supposed to be traded. So I would just start reading here and there, and then studying like a few charts here and there. Whenever I had the time, or aside from school, I would just stay in my dorm room and just study the charts. So from there, I started to learn, and started to gain my confidence just a tad bit. It's still early. So what I would do is trade like a live account. I like what I think about when I think about now, I really should have traded demo, just starting out, but
Yeah.
I went straight for the live.
Okay. How much
But
money did you put in your live account at first?
yeah, so I started with accounts like 200 or so, or
Okay.
like 500 or so. I would say in the beginning, I definitely had like a lot of blown accounts. I mean, that's pretty normal. But I started to gain a bit of consistency then. I would have certain days like were big for me, like $200 days, $300 days. And then, from there, I started to gain a bit of, like, I'm still learning at that point. So I'm still starting to gain my confidence. So
Sure.
I gained a bit of confidence. I actually left school completely. I went there for 2 years. I left school completely. Then I started to, start a job. It was with special needs.
Okay.
So I actually, started the job, and in my opinion, it's very important to have a job whenever you're trading in the beginning, because you need that source of income to fund whatever you want to do, if it's a personal account or if you're going for a prop firm. So you need that net to save you in case you
Totally.
fall. So I just started to learn from there. I was still making like $200 days or so, but I still wasn't seeing the results that I wanted. So from there, I just, continue to, study the charts and stay on the charts. I actually took Q Bank's course.
Okay.
And this course was really, great. It allowed me to see certain things on the market and, structure wise. So I really, enjoyed that process, and, just still learning, just staying a student. And then, fast forward to 2025, I'm trading with Top Tier.
That's amazing. Where in your journey did you have that switch flip from being from unprofitable to being profitable pretty consistently? How early or how long did that take you?
Yeah. I would say in order for me to gain consistency and profitability, it actually took me like a long time. I would say in the very beginning, it took me, a while just fine tuning the strategy and then just, just staying on my mindset and just being in the right flow of things.
Sure.
But I feel like, things started to change whenever I started to trade just one pair. In my opinion, well, whenever I very first started, I started to trade GU, like the pound. And I really like the way that, it moves. But I wasn't seeing the consistency I wanted. This is just my preference, but,
Sure.
like as far as GU, it has certain times that it moves like really well in certain months, and then there's certain months where it's going sideways. So I try and stay, away from sideways markets. So, I traded GU for a bit, and now I moved on to gold, and gold has just been, very well. I really love the way that it moves, and it moves a lot too. And also, things started to change whenever I started to just trade just one strategy. Just trying to trade this strategy with this strategy, it doesn't end well, just try and mix strategies. So, it's very important to just have one strategy and just continue to fine tune that strategy and just stay on that one.
Totally. Yeah, I couldn't agree more. Sometimes it's interesting because it definitely takes that strategy hopping to
Yes,
realize that you probably should have just stuck with the first one, or you just need to consolidate and focus on one,
yes,
because almost every successful trader will tell you that one thing: stick with one strategy, stick with one strategy. But it's until you've kind of come up to that conclusion with
yeah,
by yourself, that it actually clicks. And you mentioned that it took you said a long time
yes,
to turn from unprofitable to profitable. A long time is so subjective. It's like if someone were to tell you, I mean, 2019 was 6 years ago. If someone were to tell you 6 years ago, hey, in 6 years you're going to have a skill set that
yeah,
yields you, unlimited, like it's an
right,
uncapped potential, but in 60 years, 6 years, you will have made 60K in 2 months based off of the skill set you're learning, but you have to wait 6 years to get it. And then from there, it's up. It's like, okay, well, I mean, in retrospect, like depending how old you are, 6 years is not a long time, right?
right,
It's not a long time at all. Now you have this lifelong skill set
skill set,
that you'll be able to, produce again an unlimited amount of income if that's what you choose to do. So okay, so you said sticking to one pair. So what do you trade now?
yes,
Did you say gold?
yeah, gold.
Okay, sticking
Um,
to one
yeah,
pair, sticking to one strategy. What
right.
else did you have to kind of overcome and fine tune in order to see profitability? Did you have any risk issues,
Yeah,
any psychological
yeah.
issues? Okay, let's dive into that.
I love this question. As far as risk,
Mm-hmm.
it's very important to have good risk management. I do know whenever I was in the very beginning, my whole mindset and philosophy was to, use like a smaller account and try and flip it, right?
Mm,
Um, that's not, like the most healthiest mindset. I mean, it's for sure doable, it's possible, but
sure.
what's when things started to click for me and change was whenever I had a bigger account. So whenever I had a bigger account, I was now allowed to use, good risk management, and still make the type of money that, I wanted to make. Instead of just
Mm,
trying, to just flip accounts. Like it's doable, but it's just not healthy. So as far as my risk, I feel like just trading, like for example, with top tier, it allowed me to just have, an account that's bigger, and I actually got, some size to play with now. So, you know, that, and then as far as my psychology wise, we're all human, you know, like
Totally.
I wouldn't say greed was like a huge thing for me, but it was really just knowing where to be aggressive in certain areas and to, you know, like not be aggressive in certain areas. I really do think that, you know, it's really good to trade with the trend and not trade against the trend. So if you see like a smaller move on like a smaller time frame, you want to just catch that smaller move. Like it's best to not even, you know, attempt to even, you know, catch that move. Just it's good to just wait for the main move that's about to happen. So.
Sure. Sure. I want to back it up a little bit because you brought up a really good point when it came to risk and how having size matters, right? It's really important for traders. I mean, and it's such a fortunate circumstance that prop firms do exist and that you do have access to more capital, because the difference between 10% on a $100 or $1,000 account and 10% on a $100,000 account is massive, and it really it allows for you to make the gains that you envisioned making when you came into trading. You didn't come into trading to make an extra $100, right?
Right.
You know, you came in to actually make some serious headway. And so having access to capital and accounts that give you that opportunity to make the money that you actually wanted to make and envision making when coming in is big.
Sorry, I would like to, you know, say that, you know, it was still important to trade the personal accounts in like the very beginning. It was good for like the mindset, but you know, if you got capital, you know, to invest and, you know, you're starting to see, you know, you're profitable and you're consistent, you got either two choices: to either start a big account of your, you know, your personal money, or you can go the prop firm route and, you know, just trade a bigger account there. So if you got the capital, just go for the bigger account. You know, it can be 100K account, 200K account, and just make 10% of that a month, and you're good. You're making 10K a month. You're making 20,000 a month. So.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's talk. You mentioned that you are currently trading with Top Tier, but you're also focused on growing your personal account as well and trading that. What do you find the importance is of doing that? Because I know some people who just trade prop firm accounts, they pay themselves. Maybe they have a little bit in their own personal account, but like they're mostly focused on firms. And so I'm just interested to hear your perspective.
I would say my perspective is like, you know, the prop firms are here for like a reason, and you know, the prop firms are here, so it's good to you know, use it and to take advantage of the opportunity in front of you, you know. So, but like the whole objective is to eventually, you know, trade a personal account. But you know, there's some traders out here that, you know, come from, you know, a hard living space, and you know, as far as capital, they may not have the capital to have a big account. So, you know, just starting with the prop firm to, you know, build your capital and build your accounts. And then, you know, eventually transfer that over to a personal account. Or if you want to, you can just trade both. So.
Yeah. And copy trading is a thing as well. And being able to, you know, focus on one account, but have your trading copying over to your, again, personal accounts or whatever the case may be, I think is my personal opinion. I think that's the way to go. I'm interested to hear if this relates to you in any way. If you have an answer for this, great. If not, that's also okay. But how has being part of the Top Tier trader community influenced your approach and mindset towards trading?
It really influenced my approach by just, you know, just knowing like I have capital, but just also knowing that, you know, I now can actually take my time. You know what I mean? Like as far as like try and make a certain amount or like, you know, flip an account, like it's not like needed at this point, you know. Like you have, you know, large capital, so you really can, you know, just trade and just not, you know, stress too much.
Yeah, that peace of mind is huge, especially when it comes into trading. Because, like you mentioned, like having an additional stream of income is also fantastic. So you have money. You're not trading for the money. You're trading
Right,
and you're learning to acquire the skill set, not
right,
to add that added pressure, but also the pressure of you have enough capital. It's not going anywhere as long as you stay within these parameters.
right.
And yeah, you're right. You have the time to make the money, which I think is
And
great.
and also I would say like the rules, are like also like very good to have. I mean, if you think about it, because it allows you from not tilting or not, just getting too emotional in certain, trades or so. So like it's really just here, like to help you.
Totally. Could not agree more. Before we started recording, I was letting you know the type of people who tune into these interviews. And there's a scale, there's like a spectrum, right? We have people who
Mhm.
I love to think about the fact that you could be someone's first exposure, right? Maybe someone just went on YouTube and typed in trading and this interview popped up. And this is their first exposure, which I think could be an incredible opportunity. People who are just getting into it, they're learning a little bit more. People who have been in it for a little bit, maybe they're at their breaking point, they haven't yet had their breakthrough. So for individuals who are at that point in their journey, right, they know
Mhm.
what trading is. Maybe they're in the Discord. Maybe they're on their 10th fund or their 10th challenge because they have yet to pass one. um, and they feel like they're at their breaking point, but little do they know they're near their breakthrough. What piece of
Yes.
advice do you have for those people?
I would say my advice is just like to take your time. Just know that, there's no rush to make a certain amount. There's no rush to pass the challenge. Just take your time in phase one and phase two. Um, you know, um, really just try and trade like the main move. Like I wouldn't try and just trade against the trend. Just try and trade like the main move. And really just have good risk management is probably the top thing.
Yeah, that's it. Good risk management. Take your time, right? There's the
Yes.
markets will always be here. There will always be money to be made in the markets. So take your time. And I think that's great. I'm interested to know, Jonathon, what are, your future aspirations in trading? I'm interested to know why you got into trading in the first place. Are you kind of walking that walk right now? And then what you see for yourself in the future?
I would say I started trading because I wanted to find a way where I actually could make money like online.
Sure.
You know, as far as like computers, I love them. So, just seeing the idea that you can make money from like your phone or, your laptop, and like you really do not need much, but you need the skill set. So
Sure.
I really just wanted to just start trading because you could do that. And also like there's a certain like way that I want to live, and it's really just time freedom. Like I want to have the freedom to just do whatever I want to do when I want to do it. So time freedom was probably the main factor in me, wanting to start trading. I would say my goals for the future is just like to continue to just like continue to build my capital. Like that's very important. You don't want to stay stagnant, but you don't want to, you don't want to get too comfortable either. So,
Mm,
you just continue to just build capital. And then as far as like, the traders that's coming up or the traders right now, like I want to give back in a certain way, tips, tricks, um, could be with like clips or however. So in a
sure.
certain way, I would like to give back to the trading community and, just continue to do good business with top tier.
There you go. I mean, well, one of those things you're doing right now, multiple of those things you're doing right now, right? Doing good business with Top Tier. And again, these interviews are so useful and beneficial for others who are tuning in, and being able to provide a level of value. Not only, I mean, just your journey is able to provide a level of value. So Jonathon, I appreciate you. And again, I want to give you your flowers, because trading is honestly no easy feat. I almost say this on every interview, but I love to selfishly kind of conduct these, because then I get to take little nuggets and pieces of advice as well in my own trading journey. So I commend you. 60K already in 2025 is insane. I'm excited to see what else you're able to do with us. So thank you, Jonathon.
I really appreciate the time here today. It was good for me to just come here and just express. So I appreciate you.
Yeah, absolutely. And thank you for tuning in to this Top Tier interview, wherever you're watching it. Probably on YouTube was where the long form is posted. So make sure to like this video. Make sure you're subscribed to our Top Tier YouTube channel, so you're notified of every time we post one of these interviews. And also make sure to comment down below a piece of advice that you took away from this discussion today. But that's it. Thank you so much, Jonathon. And we'll see you inside.